I hope everyone's doing well. This is an important cognitive error that I was going to save. It's so hard to make time to do videos on top of work and everything, but this one I think is really important for the stage that we're at. So I myself, and I know other people who are kind of blown away by how stubborn a lot of Trump supporters are with the Constitution violations that are happening, the difficulties with the tariffs, the economy kind of collapsing. And it's easy to chalk this up to stubbornness, but one thing I think is really important to know that it's not just mere stubbornness. There's a deeper psychological effect at play. This is sunk cost fallacy, which is the psychological phenomenon where someone is less likely to abandon a course of action or a strategy because they've invested so much into it and are reluctant to do so even when it'd be much more advantageous to do so. So let me explain. I might overlap a little bit with another video, but Trump has always targeted two main voter demographics for his main base of support: low propensity voters and low information voters, which is basically people who are less likely to attend elections. They don't really get too jazzed up about participating in elections unless there's something new and exciting that pulls them in. And low information voters, people who don't either make time or some understandably don't have time to research international policy, domestic policy, economics, all this boring stuff that I would prefer not to have to care about. And because of this, because of it mainly being these two who are in his main MAGA base of support, as well as him mainly just selling his personality to people, Trump has been able to assert wildly unrealistic claims about what he can do.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning.
Which goes into super optimism, which another section. The synopsis is Trump has gotten people to adopt very wild beliefs, pie in the sky things of people who don't really know how realistic these things are. And not only has he gotten them to buy into those beliefs, but he's gotten them to assert to other people, to say with their chest, Trump is going to do this. Trump said so. He's a businessman. He knows what he's doing. And not only beating their chest and making these assertions, some of them have argued with their family members and doubled down when pushed back. Some people have called their family stupid for not agreeing with Trump or having different opinions. Some people have lost family members or tarnished relationships. This all amounts to psychological sunk costs when people have invested their beliefs, their anticipations, their emotions. Some people invest parts of their personality into Trump. And for a lot of them, this eventually gets to where the sunk cost is their publicly perceived sense of intelligence, how much they've staked on what Trump will do. And with the sunk cost and what's emotionally and psychologically at stake for them, this factors into the stakes where if they perceive that Trump might be wrong, if record low polls might be telling the truth, if the economy is kind of destabilizing instead of getting better, or if Trump is actually as Epstein implicated or perhaps more than he's looking to be. If Trump is wrong and they're wrong about Trump, this is all emotional, psychological sunk costs where they've lost their beliefs and previous assertions, and in some cases relationships that they've invested into this thing. And beliefs, assertions, relationships, dynamics, their personality, these are all psychological layers of sunk costs that this dynamic plays a role in. But it enters a new dynamic, a new layer, when it's incorporated by Trump being the heaviest merch president in United States history. Whether it be the MAGA hats people have worn, the flags people have flown, sometimes by libertarian flags, which doesn't make sense. Whether it be the truck decals or some very questionable tattoos. There are infinite examples of Trump being more than happy to put his merch on top of people and get them to invest into the thing and have a little bit to lose if he's wrong. But I think the ultimate display of sunk cost fallacy manifest specifically is the Trump was right about everything hat. For me personally, this hat is the most embarrassing thing that I could never imagine wearing for any human being on this planet. But not only did Trump get normal American citizens to wear this hat, he even got stakeholders, politicians, and pseudo-elected leaders to wear it as well. But more than unusual and outwardly weird, this is a purposeful manipulation tactic. Because these people wearing this hat is a publicly displayed, pre-humiliating bank of sunk costs. Let's say you decide to support Trump in the energy and the thrill of the rallies, and you see this hat and someone convinces you to wear it, and that's all fine and good. What happens when the thrill of the rally starts to wear off? What happens when it starts to look like maybe Trump's not as competent in these things as he said he would be? What's it look like when the economy numbers are not looking good? Or when evidence starts to mount that he very well might even be a PDF file, as the kids are supposed to call it on YouTube. And if you might ask, like, maybe let's look at the evidence bank that was pre-promised to us, and the response is, don't ask about that. Let's do a civil war instead. Part of the dynamic of sunk cost fallacy is when things start to fall apart, things start to look shifty, or evidence of very suspicious things starts to mount. Maybe for your own psychological self-interest, maybe it's better to keep your head in the sand and pretend it's not happening. Because there's now public memory or even public pictures of you endorsing literally everything the person has said and done. This is sunk cost fallacy manifest, where people are pressured or willfully accepting these things that eventually start to hold their sense of self-image hostage. And the reason I'm so passionate about it is because I believe it gets them to support things that many Americans otherwise would not be supporting. I think the dynamic of sunk cost fallacy is something we need to engage with, because it boils down to the fact that I've talked with Trump supporters, I've debated them, I've had conversations with this entire time, and a lot of Trump critics and a lot of Trump supporters, almost all unanimously, are deeply disappointed. They're not happy with the outcome of what's currently happening. I think it used to be like 80 Trump supporters I knew of in my social circle. I think that's boiled down to just one enthusiastic, like the meme of the guy in the crowd. Yeah, this is still great. I love this. Yeah, it's whittled down quite a bit. But along with this disappointment, I think there's also a lot of ego at play. Whether it's Trump supporters who are afraid of being deflated or put down by people for past conversations, or whether that's Trump critics who are getting a little bit of tunnel vision and getting a little too anticipatory of their I told you so's, which I get it, believe you me. But while I understand that, the one thing I want to strongly assure everyone is the United States Constitution and the collective sanity of our country and our people is much more important than any of our egos. And with ways we can engage with this, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here at all. Of the over 20 Trump supporters I've helped deconvert to this point, I think part of the reason I was successful is because I just asked them questions. I kept an easy tone. I didn't make it like I was trying to attack them. I just asked them questions, tried to see what their thought process is, and pull them to things, pull them to other understandings. What's more important to you, the United States Constitution or this reality TV star who doesn't look like he has much longer? And more importantly, despite whatever temptation might have came to me, I didn't waste my time nor their time trying to get out some I told you so's. We talked, we deconverted, and I got them to a place where they were like, oh, I didn't know that. And oh, I wasn't sure about that. That sounds very bad. And actually, this whole thing is bad. And in response to that, I just said, yep, I made mistakes too. Pretty human thing to do. And from that, we moved on to a much more human place where we didn't burn any bridges and we were just on a mutual understanding of, yep, politicians, am I right? So call me crazy, call me idealistic, but to the best of people's ability, I think we would do much better if we had conversations like that to untangle this and get into a better spot than what we're at now. So anyways, that's sunk cost fallacy, which I think is a very potent cognitive error that's being manifest and, quite frankly, weaponized against Americans, both high-profile supporters and American common citizens alike. And I think we do well to not just think that we're going against stubbornness, but to engage with how people are feeling about moving on. And truly, in the Trump administration, I've seen it with my family, the sunk cost fallacy, people who had to either have conversations, worry about apologizing, stop supporting Trump, but also still be standoffish because they didn't want to apologize. But also, there's been a nonprofit made by a previous MAGA head who invested everything into it until it slowly started to not seem like it was the right thing, and he made a nonprofit for other people to talk about their experiences, their beliefs changing, their relationships changing, their decals. I don't know what they're going to do about those tattoos, though. So, anyways, it's a cognitive error that I think we would do well to understand and engage with. And we definitely need to get our country in a better place than one it's at right now. So, anyways, that's sunk cost fallacy. I hope it's helpful to both sides. I hope it gives tools to other people, but maybe solidarity with people who might be struggling with the change of not thinking this Trump thing is all it's cracked up to be. But anyways, I hope it's helpful. And once again, go out there, make this world a more honest place, because that's what we need right now.